We're gonna pray.
Whose podcast is this one?
Yours.
Whoever's podcast is, you gotta pray for it.
Well, it's your podcast. Oh, it's your podcast. It is your podcast. So you gotta pray.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Father God, thank you for bringing us here today. Thank you for continuing to bless us with opportunities and growth. I pray that you continue to watch over us, continue to guide us in all that we do. Continue to use us as vessels to spread your word and to lead people in your direction. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. That was great.
Amen.
You know, Donna, it's interesting because before the fight, we pray about the same, and it was good.
Yeah. It's always pray before your fights, right?
Oh.
It's like a thing. Okay, so, Coach, what direction do you want to go with this? I know we usually let the spirit flow, but do you have any specific ideas? Because I have some, but I want to make sure.
Go ahead.
No? Well, I just think that a lot of people don't know Danny's full story on how he got here to AFS and how he got under your wing, and then you just had a massive win. So congratulations, Coach. We were so happy for you. I don't ever call him Coach. That sounded a little weird, Coach. But let's just do that. Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Do you want to start? Who wants to start? Because there's always two sides of the story. 3, your side, his side, and the truth. So.
No, it's his side of the story, the real one, the good one.
Yeah.
So I started training when I was 15, right? I had started boxing, and because I was getting into a lot of trouble. I was fighting a lot in the streets, and I was always small. Like I was not as big as everybody else. So I knew I needed to figure something out how to defend myself, especially with fighting the way I was fighting. And then where I grew up, everybody boxed, so it was like a normal thing. So I grew up with a bunch of like state champions, national champions. So I just started boxing with them right off the bat, and I still didn't like really have a passion for it. I enjoyed it, but I knew I was good at it. So I was like, this is kind of like the direction I want to head in with my career or with my life. And then I started watching like the UFC and watching like Conor McGregor and guys like that, and it made me want to do MMA. So I had already had like a heavy bag in my garage and stuff. So every day when I would finish training boxing, I would come home and I would practice kicks like on my bag. I would do like 100 kicks on each leg, and I was terrible. But yeah,
can you imagine seeing that? I wish I could see that.
My mom still has actually videos of me on her Facebook. Yeah, and it's crazy. Like I remember I would do like 50 kicks on each leg before going inside and little stuff like that. And I wanted to find a gym, but there was no gyms in our area. So I grew up in Ontario, so like there's nothing out there. Like we had a lot of boxing, but that was it. Like there was no MMA. There was another gym close by that my cousin was training at. He was doing MMA at the time, and I did like a month free there, and I didn't like it at all. It was just not like my style, like not my type of energy. And so I was boxing for like a year and a half. And then my mom actually, so her dad had left when I was a kid, right? So I was a baby. And so I never met him. As far as I could remember, I never like had a relationship or anything. I never even knew his name, you know? Then years later, when I was 16, my mom got a message on Facebook from her sister, Rose, right? At the time, we didn't know it was her sister. But she messages my mom. She's like, hey, I've been looking for you for years. I found out that you're my sister, like, and I want to meet you. And they live in Fontana. And we had just moved to Rancho. And so, and at the time, I was still, like, getting in trouble and stuff. But I knew, like, this is what I wanted to do.
So you knew from a young age, you were legit about it, all in.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Like, this is the only career I ever planned on having. And so we had met them for the first time on Christmas, her and then my mom's dad. And it was cool, but, like, it was nothing, like, crazy. And then Rose, we ended up keeping a relationship with her. So we had ended up going to the movies one time, and I'll never forget it. We're in the line waiting for the movie. And they were like, oh, what do you guys, we were getting to know each other. Like, well, what do you guys like to do? Like, what do you guys want to do when you get older? And I was like, oh, I want to be a pro fighter. And she's like, oh, really? Like, what kind of fighter? I was like, MMA. And she goes, that's crazy. She was like, our cousin is an MMA coach. And I was like, you're lying. She was like, no, I swear, like, he's a pro fighter and everything. And I was like, what? And then she was like, yeah, like, I'll text him. And I was like, text him right now. And she was,
I can imagine that too.
She was she was like, okay. And then I was like, tell him I'm gonna be the best in the world. And she laughed. And I was like, no, I'm so serious. Like, tell him. Like, and I remember her texting
I'm
Jay.
not joking.
Yeah. I remember her texting Jay, and she goes, hey, like, my nephew wants to come train. Like, he said he's gonna be the best in the world. And I'll never forget it. Jay probably doesn't even remember this. He goes, LOL, bring him in on Monday. So I went on Monday. He was working at the UFC gym still on the side, and I went, I think at like 6 in the morning, and then like I had hit pads with them. And that was the first time like I ever really like trained, you know? So like I had practiced a lot on my own, and then like obviously at boxing, but it was the way the training is set up in boxing is different, right? Like you show up, you shadow box, you jump rope, you hit the bag, like they'll correct you here and there, but it's not the same type of training. So I remember I was exhausted, and then he goes, so what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to fight. Like, I want to be serious. And he goes, okay, well, if you really want to fight, like, you got to come to my gym in Fontana. He was like, that's where, like, if you really want to be serious, you got to go. And because they were closed for the holidays because it was during Christmas. And they had just came on this side, and it was January 3rd, 2016. And I came in, and then,
the dates all right.
And then it was Rena, and I came, and it was me and my Aunt Bird because my mom was working, and we were signing up, and I remember like asking Rena, what do I got to do to fight? Like, I want to fight. And she goes, oh, you got to talk to coach about that, you know? Like, and from that point on, I never left. I just stood here and, you know, met Coach Franklin, and built a good relationship from early on. And growing up, like in like the type of environment that I grew up in, like you don't really see like those type of role models. You don't really have like positive influences around you or see anything like that. So like, I would always come here because like I felt safe, you know, like this is like, I don't have to be like around all this stuff, you know, like these people are nice to me. Like I don't have to be tough. I don't have to be anything else, you know, whereas outside in the streets, like I had to live like that, you know, like the area we're in, my mom's working 2 jobs, you know, like I only seen my mom in the morning when she dropped us off at work, you know, I mean at school, and she went to work, and then she didn't get home till like midnight, you know, like, so I really grew up at my grandma's. So where she lives is a rough area. So like you have to be rough, you know, like it's not like, oh, like, yeah, like I'm choosing to be like this. It's like, if I'm not like this, like I'm going to get ran over type thing, you know? Whereas here, like I felt comfortable. Like there's people, like I could be cool. I could laugh. I could joke. I could, you know, be myself, you know, like I don't have to be like anybody that I don't want to be, you know, like, so I always, like, even though I was constantly getting in trouble, like, even as I was training here, like, I would always find my way back because, like, I knew, like, this is where I needed to be.
Yeah. I want to hear because I know there's more to the journey, but that's, like, a good first part. So when he first came to the gym, like, what was your experience like? Because, you know, people come in and say, I want to fight, but then they're not really about it.
All the time.
Right? But what just happened? So, what was it like with him?
It was like, you know, you treat it the same way that you treat everybody. You treat everybody with respect, but probably 10,000 people walk through that door with the same story of him. Then I want to be the best. I want to fight. And they find out that it's a little too hard to be the best. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then Danny started training with us, but it was doing more like the stand-up. That's what he was doing before. And one day he told us that he want to fight. That he want to correct me if I'm wrong. And then we signed him up for a fight. And he's doing really, really good. And he get beat. How? In the ground. Then it happens again. And then I told him one day, hey, if you really want to keep doing this, we gotta train the ground, because you know, it's so sad to see that he's like beating these kids up, and then something stupid happen, a choke or a number or something against kids. Then right now he fight them, he will destroy them. But it was interesting because I knew he was serious when he started doing everything. Like, I really want to fight. And he started doing jiu-jitsu, and he started doing wrestling, and he started doing, and that's how he started getting better and better, and, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a process. But you just see it in people, when somebody came here and they say, I want to be the best, and 6 months later you see them once a week, or you see them, and then there was a season when his training that it was like that, like where he was coming and serious for a week, and then. But
is that when you were still getting in trouble and stuff?
And I was just about to say that, actually. That was like I was really getting in trouble.
How old are you now, real quick?
27.
So that was 16. Okay. All right.
So the time he's talking about, like when I was training off and on, was when I was like 20 to 21. So COVID like had just happened, and that was like my excuse. Oh, the gym closed for a month? All right, I'm gone. Like I was already like kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, And so that was like my excuse. So, but I would, like he would say, like I would still show up because I knew like I needed to be here, But my mind was so, especially being so young, like I was so caught up in what I was doing that like I would show up and like be committed, and then like, all right, I'm gone. Like, like I'll be back in a couple months, So like for like a year and maybe like 3 months, I would show up for like a month, disappear for like 2 months, show up for a month.
Really? I can't even imagine that now because you're here 24/7.
Yeah, and that's how it was for a long time before that too. Like I didn't start working until I was 20, because all I did was train. And so like it was a shock for coach. It was a shock for me too, but like I was just so caught up in the life that I was living that like my priorities were not right, even though I knew I needed to be here, like I wasn't putting it first. And so yeah, like I was definitely like in a different mindset, like back then I was getting.
So what changed? What was like the moment where you were all in?
Well, it's funny because I remember, so like I said, like I always had knew like, all right, I'm gonna come back, right? So I had fought, like coach was saying, like I had fought a couple times to where I only was doing like maybe like takedown defense and like striking, and not really ground, like very, very little ground. And then I had got choked. And then after that, I didn't fight for, I think, like 2.5 years because I just trained jiu-jitsu. Like, I would do striking, like, still kickboxing, but, like, I was doing jiu-jitsu in the morning. I was doing jiu-jitsu at night. I was wrestling. I was doing grappling, like. And I did that every day for a long time until finally, like, it got to a point where, all right, I got to pay bills. I have to get a job, And then, so then you had that period of time where I really was, like, showing up, not showing up. And then, I got really fat one time, and I went on vacation with my family. And
I know where this is going.
I have proofs.
Yeah, I was fat, and I remember.
I can't even imagine you fat.
Yeah, I was fat, and I remember my grandma was like, "Damn, you're fat!" Like, and I was like, "I know." Like, and then what really got me, my mom told me, she was like, and I remember it was September 2nd, 2021.
This is great.
Yeah,
That's great.
She goes. It's okay if you're never gonna fight again. Like if you're done, like it's fine. And that hit me different because like I was like, no, like what do you mean? Like this is what I'm gonna do with my life. And I never forget it. That I came back Sunday and I was like, I need to commit myself. I need to start fighting now. I'm 22. I haven't fought in 4 years. I had 3 of those years I've been spending training. Like what did I do it for? Like I need to come back. And then that Monday I came back to the gym and I haven't missed since.
What?
Yeah.
Is that before or after you like, or do you want
to? Yeah. So that was still before. So I was still getting in trouble.
Okay.
But I knew like, now I'm thinking differently. Like, okay, I could do both. Like I could train every day, but I could still live what I'm living. You know, like, so I was training every day, and this is where like the devil gets you, right? Because like I was winning. Like I was like going out drinking before fights, like I'm talking about like getting blackout drunk, like 2 weeks before the fight, a week and a half before the fight, and then and then I win in like the first round, second round, and then so I'm like, okay, like I could do it, and then after the fights I'm partying with all my friends, still getting in trouble doing the same stuff, and then I had a couple situations where like obviously I had to take some time off, and then I had got arrested for the last time, and it was like a real serious like case, right? And the people that it happened with were involved coach, so it was like a really bad look,
Yeah.
and I remember very clearly, actually, like as I'm on my way to the station, like to get booked and everything. I remember thinking like, well, like, and it gets even crazier because Coach actually had to talk with me. He had just left to Costa Rica, and he goes, Danny, he goes, you know, this relationship that we have with these people, like I need you, and I know the type of friends and type of life that you live. He was like, I need you to not get in trouble and not put yourself in any type of situation. I was like, okay, Coach. He was like, especially now that you're going to be working here, you know, I can't have anything. That was on Friday. I got arrested on Wednesday,
Wow.
like literally like 3 days later. And then, so I'm on my way over there, like, yeah, like I'm done. Like, you know, like, first of all, I'm for sure going to like go to prison for like 2 years, couple years. Like, I'm not, there's no way I'm going to freaking come back and coach, you know. That opportunity is gone.
Yeah.
You know, and the people that got me, I was like, it's just he's gonna let me go, you know. And like I remember being like, when I got there, like my mindset changed, like, okay, well, like I just started praying, and I was like, God, like if he doesn't kick me out, like I promise, like I will get right, like I will change. Like before that, like I believed in God, but I never wanted to change. I never wanted to like be better, you know. I just knew I believed in him and I had faith in him. But this time, like I was like, I'll if you want me to change, I'll change. Just don't let him kick me out, you know. Like I don't want to lose this place, you know. And so I remember sitting there, and then by the grace of God, like I got out that night, and I remember going home like, okay, how am I gonna approach this, you know? Like I'm out now, so I do have a chance, but like how am I gonna talk to him? And I had knew like he was gonna hear about it. Like there was no 100% he was gonna hear about it. So, and like, because instantly your first instinct is like, man, he's gonna kick me. Like if I tell him, he's gonna kick me and maybe try to hide it. Then you're like, nah, you can't. Like you gotta be a man, you know. You did it. It is what it is. Like accept what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, Coach, like when you get back, I need to talk to you. And at this time, I didn't know that he already knows, you know.
Oh, you already knew in Costa Rica?
And so I show up to his house, and he sits me down. He's like, so what happened, Danny? I tell him, and I'll never forget the first words he says. He goes, well, we got to figure it out because you're going to work with these guys. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, like, whatever you want me to do. Like, I'll drop it. Like, I won't even care, you know? Like, if I just say, like, that's cool, you know? And then from that point on, like, I kept my promise not only to him, but to God. Like, you know, like, I definitely, like, from who I was a couple years ago, like, he changed my life, like, 100%. Like, I believe God brought me here for that reason. Because if it wasn't for this gym, I would 100% be dead or in jail. Like,
yeah.
100%.
Oh, my gosh. Coach, what made you still give him that grace and forgiveness and move forward? Why? Because you could have easily said, forget this.
No, it was hard because I was listening to Danny. I never hear a lot of the stuff that he just said, like getting all drunk and all this stuff. And it's seriously, and it's such a, life is like faith. If you disconnect from who you really are, and you don't take us serious, you're gonna walk away like Adam did. You know what I mean? And listening to Danny right now, I'm thinking like, how do you live two lives like that?
Yeah.
Because it's really hard. It's really hard to be here and try to be a person. Then once you leave the parking lot, you're a different person, and you have to do it because you have no choice. That's where you live. That's how you grow up. And but one of the things that Danny still haven't mentioned is his mom. One day when Danny came to the gym, I got a phone call from this lady, and she said, I believe you are the answer to my prayers. I have been praying for my son for a long, long time, and finally he find a place where he feels, I don't know what they talk about at home or stuff like that, but, and when I was in Costa Rica, I got a text from Captain Burton, and he say, this is how it happened. Like right before I went to Costa Rica, I say, hey Danny, where do you work? Oh, I work in whatever place you. I say, how much money did you make? He told me, and I say, okay, starting next year, quit the job. I'm gonna pay you just to be here and train and help me teaching. And he was happy, and he was like all these things. And I say, just one thing: don't you dare get in trouble, because that is. I trained the Fontana PD, and I was there, and I was thinking like, what I was gonna put him to help me with, what classes, how, and everything, and training and everything. I got a text from Burton and say, we just arrest Danny. And I text back, please tell me that it's no Danny Martinez. Anyway, we had like 10 Dannys here. Yeah. I say, don't tell me Danny Martinez. He said, yep.
Did your heart break?
And I was like, heck no. Then he said, if you want, we can talk. I say, I will be back in U.S. in a couple of days. And, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were back already. Don't worry about it. The cops then arrest him. They will fill you in. They will tell you what happened.
Yeah.
And I am like, who did it? And they were the guy that trained with us here. And I was like, oh my God. And I came and it was like Danny said, it was a little bit serious, the thing. I got home from Costa Rica, like 5 minutes later, Danny was there. Seriously.
I can see that too.
It was like, I don't know if he was following me in the phone. But I got home and a little bit later, I said, what happened? He told me. But I say, okay, we talk tomorrow. Because I was going to meet with them to see. And I remember talking to them and, Coach, if I was you, I don't put my name there, behind this kid. I say, I gotta help him. That's not gonna happen. Because this is what they say. These kids never learn. That's how they are. That's who Danny is. Why do you wanna put your name? I say, I can't do it. I say. And it was like, you remember we work at this room up here? It was me trying to convince them that we deserve another opportunity, And they were furious, they were mad, they were like, they were hurt too, because since we start training the Fontana PD, we are like a big family with them too.
Yeah.
Now, it was so crazy because I got up here and I talked to the two cops that arrested him. And they are like, we are not going to train with this kid. And this is the problem that they saw. They're like, he could get hurt really bad, or we could. And imagine if something happens, I am the one of the cops, then I am the one, then I gotta go and tell the family. Then somebody then train with us hurt the person. Yeah. He said that's not gonna happen. And I am like in this, like I have
like torn.
Yeah,
right?
Because there was a moment where I say, oh my goodness, I gotta let go of that. I can't. And there was another side of me that say, I can't. Like I have a better relationship with Danny than what I have with my son. Honestly. Like there is time when I have to tell him something that he probably don't appreciate it, but hey, it's for your good, for your own good. And I was like, I can't, guys, I can't. Let's do something now. And this is what one of the guys said. He said, if that kid is I don't want to say the word that he said, is in the mat, I will never put a foot in the mat. You say, this is not gonna happen. The other one say, what I do is, that's my job. This is not my job. I came here to detox. But the other one was like, hell no. This is not gonna happen. I am not gonna let this, And I am talking with this guy. Guys, just give me a chance. Give me 6 months. If this kid get in trouble in 6 months, I do it, but not right now. Don't. And no, we can. And it's.
And you're hearing everything.
No. It was before that.
Oh.
And then I say, do me a favor. After it took me like hour and a half, 2 hours sitting with these guys, and they know me because Captain Burton and I have been friends for 25 years. No more, maybe more. And this kid, this cop is like, I can, and that will be dangerous. They will be, and at the end he say, okay, coach, this is what we're gonna do. We will do that. I will be okay with that, but I don't want this guy. I don't want to train with him never again. Forget about that, because what he did is not right. And then then I say, okay, let's do that. I say, but now I want us to come with Danny up here, and we got to tell how we feel about it.
Yeah.
And this specific guy was like, he don't even want to talk to it, because, it was so fresh. It was so fresh, everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, dude, you got to help me, dude. This is, and finally, I say, let's do something. Let's go downstairs. Let's teach the class. And we come back and we talk to him after class. Danny was downstairs. And he said, yeah, we can do that, but I don't want to train with him. He got to be in one corner, I will be in the other one. I don't want to even talk to this guy. I don't even want to look at this guy. And I say, perfect. We go. And we start training. I teach the class and everybody. And then I say, okay, we're going to grapple and go and get water and come back. And they go and get water and come back. They start grappling. And when that round ends, I said, okay, switch partners. Danny, go and get in front of him to grapple. This is the only guy that, and he doesn't know that what is happening. And he go and get in front of him and
like to grapple.
Well, because I knew like I had to make him feel comfortable. You know?
So you were doing it as like a peace treaty.
Yeah. Because at that point I was like, anything that coach needs me to do, I'll do it.
It was a competition grappling match.
So they really grappled?
Oh yeah, we grappled.
Hard, like really hard.
Yeah,
he was so hard, like. Yeah. And I was like,
but I understood.
I was like, oh, I should tell Danny this before, but I couldn't because he didn't know.
Yeah. And they must have known too because they were with you, right? Like they walked out and they saw.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was so interesting because that fight was like going to a tournament and both guys are getting it. Then after the class, we came up here, and it was good because that changed everything. They had the opportunity to tell Danny how they feel about it. They had the opportunity to say how stupid you are doing this. I can't believe, and I never forget what Adrian said. He said, you know what, I can't believe you're doing this to coach. And I was like,
it's like when you disappoint your father and not get them upset.
And after that was like, I believe that it was necessary to happen because that changed everything, absolutely everything.
Sometimes we need to really hit rock bottom to get to change.
I also want to just point out, so that moment is when like I could think back to that specific moment, right, where God changed my life, right? I got arrested in Ontario. Why did I get arrested by people from out here? And they were in front of my house out there.
What?
You know, it just happened to like.
And usually they can't, right? Like they can't because it's
I
like
don't know, like,
jurisdiction.
They were not. They didn't go for him.
Yeah,
They
were
are
just
there.
Come
They are
on,
there looking for somebody else.
Coach. That's God. You can't tell me that.
Yeah, because
What?
any if I would have got
It'd have been
by
done.
any other, if I would have got taken in by someone else, I would have been cool. I would have just bailed out. Coach never hear about it. Like I'm still gonna be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
you know?
But that needed to happen.
But because it was them, because I remember like when I seen who he's talking about, I was like, because they were like, my gee's in my car, you know, and
oh shoot.
they're like, where do you train? And I'm like, Fontana. And he goes, well, Franklin. And I look at him and I recognize his face, you know, and I'm like, nah. And I'm like still tripping, like what's going on right now? And then they take me to the station and I've been arrested before, you know. I'm like, where am I? You know, and they're like, you're at Fontana Police Station. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, now I'm really tripping. Like, how did this happen? You know, like, and really still like, I don't know like what they were doing there or like, you know, what the situation was. But I know that they ended up there and I ended up being arrested by them.
What are the
And
odds?
That's the moment that changed everything for me.
It was so crazy because they were not even there, these two guys. They got a call from the two guys that were doing their job there, and they go. And imagine how crazy then they arrest Danny and they don't even know it's Danny.
Yeah.
They trained with him here, but they didn't recognize him. The way that they recognized him, they were talking with grandma.
Yeah, and grandma.
And then grandma said, yeah, my grandson is a fighter. And I think...
the gi plus grandma.
And then
like,
he say, where do you train? Oh, I'm curious. They say then they feel like a bucket of water just getting like, no way. And when he was walking back, he say, the freaking Danny. Now they go like, and they got there like, oh my goodness.
Because he
How
and I remember
crazy
him
is that?
saying to me, he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, and I was so like, this is just how I live. Like this is what it is. And he goes, didn't you just, this is a week after I won a fight too. Like, he goes, you just won a fight. Like, coach said you have so much potential. What are you doing? I was like, I don't know. And just.
Like to you, it was just
It was
second
just
nature.
regular, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that night was no different than every other night that I was chilling before that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just that night they happened to be there and they got me. You know?
Wow.
It's crazy and it's sad and it's so many different things because a lot of times we were seeing something in him that he don't even know he had. Mm-hmm. And it's sad because that happens here all the time. You see kids, then if this kid gets serious, he can be so good. And, you know, the problem with living a fake lifestyle is then I would never, if that never happened, he would be still doing it probably.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we never know. And then it's that was a turning point for everything.
God's discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Wow. Okay. So then that was what, 2022? 2022. Yeah. So now it's 2025 and you just won your last fight. So let's talk about that. Like, let's walk us through, because a lot of people were like, that was like last minute, but then you like slayed it, but you'd been preparing for that fight.
Yeah, for sure. So we were supposed to fight in October a couple weeks ago, but we kept having like problems with opponents and stuff. So we were already like in training camp for like 12 weeks, you know, but I knew I needed to fight like before the end of the year. I want to fight a couple times before the end of the year. So I knew I needed to get one in. So at that point we were kind of like just willing to accept anybody. So this dude was a weight class above us, plus like had like 9 or 10 pro fights already, you know. So realistically, like it was a tough fight for us, but like we know the skill level that we're at, and I needed to get in there, you know. So that's why it was kind of short notice.
And you guys studied him, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because it's like it seemed like you knew what his weakness was going to be.
Yeah, for sure. We had watched a lot of his fights, and a lot of the fights play out like very similar to like how ours like looked it was gonna play out. Like he came out very aggressive, very scrappy, like slippery, like he was slipping out a bunch of submissions and stuff like that. But we train like so hard, and obviously like the skills that I get from coach are like I think second to none. So once I got on like to the ground and got in the fight, like I knew like our skill level was just that much higher, you know. So I remember actually thinking in the fight, like when I got to his back, a bunch of people have gotten to his back and he's really good at defending and escaping. I remember thinking, okay, like just be calm because he's good at escaping from here. And then I remember thinking to myself, like, yeah, but he's escaping from guys that are not as good as me on the ground. I know this for a fact, you know. And then I seen that we had more than enough time on the clock, and I was just very comfortable. We train these situations all the time, so I just felt at home.
You told, I think, Francisco this yesterday, that if we were to look at the cameras at the gym, literally what happened at the fight, you guys train this all the time.
Yeah. Because we watched some of the fights and we knew he was really good coming up. None of the previous opponent could hold him in the ground.
Yeah.
They put his butt in the ground and somehow he came up. And we knew he was going to do that, and we trained. Okay, he came out this way. We can do this. And he tried to go this way. He's gonna turn his back. We gotta jump on his back. Everything that happened in that fight, everything that happened in that fight, we drilled it here probably I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
And we knew we were getting to his back. How we finish him, it was like it can be you pick and choose your poison, you know. But it was gonna happen. And I told Danny, if you go to the ground with that kid, you will finish him. I knew he was going to, and it happened.
Yeah.
Because it's different. You know, when you have a guy, then it's just have one style in the ground, and they can, if it's not a jiu-jitsu move, you're not going to finish. No, you made a mistake, and I'm going to put you out. And that kid, he was tough.
Yeah.
He was tough because he got hurt really bad.
Yeah, he did. He did not want to tap out.
No, I give it to him. Yeah, he was tough for sure.
Yeah. So from what was it in August, September, from your last fight to this fight, like what do you think? What kind of growth have you experienced, like mentally as a fighter?
I think it less like mentally, more like spiritually, like just getting even closer with God has helped me a lot. Cause mentally, like I've always been strong, but like I do like deal with stuff. And like my way of like handling it has always been like aggression, right? Like training hard, like violent fighting, obviously. Whereas now, like my way of coping with it is like I talk to God, like I pray, you know, like so if I get angry, I pray. If I get upset, I pray. If I'm happy, I pray. Like I always like remind myself to just stay grounded and really just stay close to God, and it's definitely made a big difference. And then another thing, like like mental training with like Coach Charlie, he definitely like helps me a lot. I go up to his house in the mountains, and we do a lot of meditation stuff, and I feel like that makes a big difference.
Like visualization, right?
Yeah, I think it really does help me a lot, like with the way that my mind works.
Does it help with like controlling your breathing too, or
for sure? And I think just reminding yourself, like, okay, like you deserve to be here. Like there's nothing that separates that guy and me. You know, like he's nervous. You know, like he's scared. He's feeling everything that we might be feeling. Like you're both feeling that. You know, like you could control it, and just like it gives you like a playbook, right? Like it's not necessarily everything has to go according to it, but it's like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. You know, this is what drives me. This is what my goals are. This is what I need to do to get there. You know, so like just little stuff like that, like definitely makes a big difference, I think.
Yeah. That, and when he walks you through the meditation and stuff like that?
Yeah, like everything. From like we've visualized everything from getting to the arena to laying down on the mat, like, and breathing before we start warming up. Visualize warming up, visualize being on the stage, waiting to walk out, visualize going into the cage, stepping into the cage, and then the first 3 strikes we visualize, and then the rest of the fight just plays out how it plays out.
Wow, that's really cool.
So, yeah.
Something I noticed, Rena and I said it when, cause we were watching the fight here, and I don't know. I've seen some of your earlier fights. Obviously I haven't been around for them, and then just leading up to this one, even as you won, your composure, like you weren't prideful. Like you weren't out there like, yeah, like you were very like, you seemed more, just more humble in a way. And I feel like that's growth, right? Like we always can grow more in it, but from like your past to now, I think you're just like, you're progressing and maturing. And I think that's something important, because you see fighters, even like the UFC, they start cussing and they start being all like ego cussing in the mic and just like, yeah, like whatever. But I feel like you're heading in a different direction. Do you think it's because of God? And do you even notice that change in you?
Yeah, for sure. I know that being humble is like one of my like vulnerabilities, you know. Like I've never been like, oh, because like I grew up real like shy and like I don't know, like I never was confident in myself until I started training. Then when I started training, like this is something the first thing I've ever been good at in my life, you know, like, and it's fighting, you know, like if you could fight like as a man, like that's something like, you know, like it boosts your confidence, you know. So
you have to be careful.
Like I went from being a kid like I don't want to even get off to go eat with my family because I don't want anybody to look at me, to no, I want to be everybody look at me, you know, like I want to be the center of attention. And for a long time, like that's kind of like what I was craving. And like I know that that's something I need to work on, like being humble, not necessarily not being confident, because like I feel like I'll always be like very confident in who I am and like in what I do, but just maybe the way I express it sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I catch myself like saying caught myself saying certain things like a certain way to certain people. I'm like, all right, maybe like that wasn't the way to say it, you know, like you could have approached that differently.
The Holy Spirit be, you know, like, talking to you like,
and I always like would feel it, right? Like I would get home and like say I said something to somebody, I'd be like, damn, you shouldn't have said that, you know, like you're wrong, like you got to be humble, you know. And then I knew it was a problem, like because some people would tell me be humble, and then it would bother me, like, what do you mean be humble? Like, you know, like I am humble, but you're not. I wasn't being humble, you know. And I think like that's just like less to do with like like fighting, and just more like of how I kind of want to be like as a person, you know, like because obviously you have to be confident as a fighter. You have to kind of like have that like edge, like yeah, I am the best, you know,
yeah.
Like, and I do believe that, you know, like but like outside of fighting, like I want to be a good person, you know, like I want to I don't want to be angry or like I could save that for the cage, you know, like when I go in the cage, I could let that all out, you know, like, but when I'm not in the cage, like I want to work on being like more calm and just collecting myself a lot more.
It just seems like from your last fight, not this one, but the one before, where you didn't win, but it feels like you really sought God more than ever from then to now. So it's like your identity is like being like, it's like almost like from the outside looking in, it just seems like God is like trying to remind you that your identity isn't even in fighting. It's in Him, whether you win or whether you lose, you know? So.
And I agree. And it's crazy because like this might sound a little crazy, but my whole life, like I felt like is intentional, you know, like I feel like my life is playing out like exactly how God wants it to, you know, like all the stuff like I went through, everything like that I've been through, good or bad, like I feel like it was supposed to happen.
Testimony,
for a reason. Like, because even so after I started like I stopped getting in trouble, right? So that was at the end of 2022. I fought early in March of the next year, 2023, and I won. But like that camp was like just so much stuff going on, right? Like bad, like, and coach knows some of the stuff. I won't share too much of it right now, but like very like stuff that'll mess you up like emotionally, mentally, and it was hard for me to deal with, right? So like I was still trying, you know, like I was definitely trying to get right, but I was still like backslide, like I was still not fully committed, like, but I'm trying now. And I think God knew that I was trying, and then I was just still on my high horse. I won. Now I thought like, all right, I just went through all this the week of the fight and I still won, So I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, like, and then I never forget. It was the last amateur fight I lost 2 weeks before. Same thing. I got drunk and then I lost, and it was a reminder like, okay. And I hadn't drunk all the way up to then. And then I stopped drinking after, right? Like until the fight. So it was like a couple weeks before the fight, but just those couple of drinks that I had stuck with me. Like, all right, you said you were going to stop doing that. You said you were going to stop doing it. It ate at me, right? So then I fought and I lost, and I did really well in the fight, but I lost. He was a tough guy. And then I remember going home and showering, and I didn't necessarily feel like, oh, okay, like I lost because of the couple drinks, right? But I knew that spiritually I had made I told God, like,
you were out of integrity,
doing,
Yeah.
So I was wrong. And I remember like, okay, and like usually like when I was young, obviously you don't really know too much. You would pray for something, it doesn't happen, you stop praying, right? I didn't want to be like that this time. So when I lost, I remember the first thing I did, I came home, I jumped in the shower, and you cry a little bit, obviously, like you're so passionate about your career. But I just remember saying, God, like, I thank you for this, like, I understand I made a mistake, and I'm going to grow from this. I'll be better. And I trust in you. This is your plan, 2 weeks later, they call us to fight the dude's teammate. Undefeated, short notice for the championship at our actual weight class. And then I just knew, like, oh, like, this is God giving me my chance. Like, this is my opportunity to prove to him, like, no, I could be good, like I could change. Like I know I slipped up, but you're giving me the opportunity. I'll show you that I could do it right. Didn't do nothing wrong. Everything to a T, like we went out there and then knocked him out in the first round and won the belt, right? After everyone thought, keep in mind, like we're for sure the underdog. Like we had just lost to his teammate. He's undefeated, coming off like 4 finishes in a row. Everyone thought he was going to beat me, and just knocked him out cold in the first round. And I remember like just thinking like, man, like for sure, like this is God. Like this is not me. Why would I be fighting? I just lost. Why am I fighting for a belt?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. That's when it's God.
So everything just played out the way it was supposed to play out. And I remember that was the first time I actually did like the mental training, and we won. And then I remember we that changed our lives, really, like my whole career. Like I went pro after that, signed the pro contract. And then still from that point on, I still knew like I was being tested, like, cause then I got cut a week before I was supposed to make my pro debut. Obviously like this big scar, so that like for sure affects you, you like, you don't know how do I know if I'll ever be able to get to where I want to go now? Like, what if I get hit and I just cut open? What if I don't know, like, then I had actually made my pro debut a couple months later, right? And we did really good in the fight. It was a tough fight. And the ref stopped it, right? Which we thought was not a great stoppage, like we were moving. There was no point. Like I wasn't taking like unnecessary damage. I was defending, attacking as well. But for whatever reason, they stopped it without even warning me. All right, cool. That was upsetting, but I still at this point know I'm just being tested, right? Like it's cool. Like, and I performed really well. Like I got more attention off losing than he did off beating me, right? And so I still was not like too worried about it. Then we fought up north. Then I lose. Then it's kind of like, okay, well, I didn't expect it to go this far, like,
well,
I know I always get tested, but like, I didn't expect it to, but then still, like, as soon as the fight ended, like, I had to remind myself, okay, I sat there and I just prayed, like, God, I thank you for this, like, I know this will make me better, and, we changed a couple things about like how we were training, and I just knew like I start seeing like out of nowhere, you know, like Marab becomes champion, JDM becomes champion. These two guys both started off as 0-2 as professionals, and then now Marab's like the best bantamweight of all time, and JDM's 18-2, 18 fight win streak. He's the UFC champion, you know, and I'm like, I could do it, you know, and maybe God used me because he knows that I could do it. He knows that I have the resolve and I have the skills to bounce back from this and win the rest of my fights for the rest of my career.
Yeah.
Maybe someone else doesn't have that resolve to go through that, you know?
Yeah.
So he chooses me so they could see, no, it can't be done, you know? So I just believe like it's all part of his plan. And now that I feel like I'm in a good space, you know, like to get our career where we plan on going.
Dang. What a redemption story. That's good.
That's really good.
All right. Well, is there anything else you guys want to share? Anything else that's on your hearts as a coach or as a professional fighter?
Nothing. Just keep an eye out for us. We're gonna be making a lot of noise in the amateurs and the professionals for a long time to come, and I'm excited to be Coach's first world champion, which I believe will happen.
Amen.
You know, then it's interesting because we were training, preparing for that fight, and I was looking at Danny training, and I was like, you know, then you do better when you do this, and you don't do that. You know, that and I start seeing things that maybe were more his style than what we knew before. And when Danny walked in that fight, he fought different than before, totally different. Mm-hmm. Like it was a different fighter that day. Like, he always go like 100%, 100 miles per hour, and this time it was like really well planned and everything. And it's good to see the growth. You know, it's good to see it. Then God is, like he said, giving him another opportunity. Like is sometimes they take people 40 years in the wilderness to
Yep.
to catch up with what God wants for them, and hopefully this were his 40 years, and we don't need to go back. You know, that's really great.
Yeah. Amen. That's good. All right. Well, I think that's a good ending. Land the
It's
plane.
good, yeah.
Follow the YouTube or Instagram. Come try a free trial. Come train with Coach Franklin, Coach Danny, and that's it.
Chop chop.
Perfect.
Good.
That was good.
That was really good. That was